Global oil demand is steadily rising, while oil inventories are at multi-year lows. And if OPEC Plus continues to fail in meeting its oil production targets under these conditions, oil prices will remain under upward pressure and are set for more volatility, the International Energy Agency said in its latest monthly report. The gap between OPEC Plus output and its target levels surged to as much as 900,000 barrels per day in January, the IEA said. This year's estimated global demand growth rates remain largely unchanged, the agency said. The IEA expects world oil demand to rise by 3.2 million barrels per day this year to 100.6 million barrels per day as COVID restrictions ease. At the same time, global oil inventories are continuing to shrink. OECD oil stocks declined by a steep 60 million barrels in December, led by large draws in middle distillates across all regions, the IEA estimates. Oil inventories in developed economies were 355 million barrels lower than a year ago, which is their lowest level in 7 years, and preliminary data for January show that OECD stocks declined by another 13.5 million barrels. The global oil supply did rise in January. Oil supply rose by 560,000 barrels per day to 98.7 million barrels per day in January, mostly from countries outside the OPEC Plus pact. Meanwhile, OPEC Plus continued to show chronic underperformance compared to its targets. According to the IEA, if the gap between OPEC Plus output and its targets continues, supply tensions will rise, increasing the likelihood of more volatility and more upward pressure on prices. These risks, the IEA said, could be mitigated if Middle East producers that have spare capacity would use it to make up for others without spare capacity. But the reality is that only 2 countries, Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, are equipped with spare capacity. Iran could also add 1.3 million barrels per day to the market if the nuclear talks are successful and the U.S. sanctions on Iranian oil exports are removed. The report also suggested that if OPEC Plus cuts were fully unwound, it could increase output by 4.3 million barrels per day. Unfortunately, this would decrease the effective spare capacity, which could fall to 2.5 million barrels per day by the end of the year.